And we are live, May 9th. Rich, DeVaul, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming on.
Hey, man, I am doing great. How's it going with you?
Good, super good. Enjoying life in San Diego. The weather's good, and learning about yet another rad deep-in project. So we got
That's right.
you've been doing XNET for a while now. This was kind of the dark horse that nobody knew about for a long time. And then it sprang onto the scene. What's new?
Yeah.
What's going on with it?
Gosh. So, XNET is, it's more than a year old. That feels like a really short period of time, but also an eternity. Um, Boy, things have been moving really quickly recently. So, as those who've been following the whole, deep in DY scene know, it used to be there was like the OG, there was Helium, and then there was Pollen that came along. And those are two, fairly, I would say, inspirational and influential projects. Of course, we're a little bit sad about Pollen kind of exiting as they did,
Yeah, yeah,
but those projects kind of paved the way in terms of showing that you could actually use crypto incentives to encourage people to build a network, which was amazing.
yep.
But both projects had some limitations, I would say, in terms of the degree of sophistication they brought to the actual underlying 4G, 5G network technology. And so we started XNet because we were like, wow, this is such a cool, inspiring, area, and we can build connectivity ourselves, and we can recruit a community that can do this for us and with us. Um, but at the same time, we wanted to bring real kind of clue to this process. We wanted to bring real knowledge of how you build an actual mobile network. And for a long time, people were like, yeah, that all sounds great, but where are my tokens, right?
Right.
And I get that, right? Yes, we're going to give you your tokens, but we were saying, no, you've got to do network planning. You've got to think about where your customers are. You've got to think about who your customers are. You've got to build something that's useful to them.
Yeah.
And they were, oh sure, and at some point in the far future you'll have paid data. And we're like, no, if you do this right, we can get to that pretty quickly. Um, so here we are now, and I feel like we've been kind of like running down the runway, sort of like almost trying to like build the airplane, as we're kind of running down the runway, and
Yeah.
it kind of airplane shaped, and it's been like, oh, is it going to take off, is it not? But just in the last really few weeks, we've been in serious negotiations, not just like, oh, we called somebody, they haven't returned our calls, but back and forth term sheet negotiations with the first like tier one mobile network operator partner. And it keeps, honestly, like legal departments, I'm just like, damn it, we have these terms worked out, let's just do the deal. So we're still kind of waiting on some of that stuff. But I'm feeling really good about like actual like per gigabyte rates negotiated and all of that. So
Cool.
like, coming real soon now. So like for reals, we've had inbound interest, not just from mobile network operators and MSOs, but I'm going to say there is a Fortune 10 company that
Seems
actually has
pretty big.
contacted us and said, hey, we want to be a customer. We were like, you want to be a customer? But it actually makes sense. And I'm not going to say more about who they
Sure.
are and all that. But it turns out people are so hungry for cost effective, scalable, connectivity. And this is going to change everything. So we're just finally really seeing that real customer pull, like people reaching out and contacting me on LinkedIn, contacting me saying, hey, like we need this.
Yeah.
And not just like, I don't know, local ISP or regional ISP or somebody like that who's excited about the possibility, but we're talking about like, really serious customers. So that's been like the big thing
Yeah.
that's been going on. And also I've been building new tools and got some crazy ideas about how we're going to bring AI into all this because, well, you kind of have to have an AI
You
play
pretty
these
much have
days.
to have it. Yeah, yeah.
You
So
pretty
let's
much
talk
have
about
to.
some of the tool stuff I've seen on Discord. You guys been announcing. You got new reports on radios versus gateways. What else is going on that people can see in these things?
Yeah. So, I know this sounds like really boring. It's like, oh, yeah, reports for radios and gateways. But this is really critical because
Yeah.
right from the very beginning, we've wanted to be like super transparent about how all this stuff is working. And in the not too distant future, more and more of the stuff will be written directly to the Polygon blockchain. Um, it's just, you kind of have to get that stuff right the first time.
Yeah.
So we've been a little bit hesitant about actually like, going to the sort of smart contract version of the stuff, although that is in development. Um, but we have better reporting. So for now, hey, you deploy XNet, you can go to our Explorer, explorer.xnetmobile.com, and click on reports, and you can actually see the uptime of your radio, like right now how it's doing.
Yep.
We raised the bar to 75% uptime, which is, as anybody will tell you, is not actually all that high. The vast majorities of our radios that are actually up are 99% or higher in terms of uptime. That threshold is going to start to rise soon as a result.
Yep.
And that's great. But I think even maybe more exciting is that we have this vision of using Discord for like our distributed network operations center. So I've created a Discord bot where you can actually say, hey, I want to subscribe to the state changes of this gateway, these radios, and whatever, and it will DM you when your radio changes state, if it goes from online to offline or to stale or whatever. And so you're getting proactive notifications. And the idea is that now there are no excuses. If you're invested in keeping radios and gateways up, you can sign up and you can get notified, and you can do it in the same interface you're using to chat with other folks and engage with our community. So I think that's going to really change things. And this is just the beginning, because I'm starting to build out other tools, and these tools, some of them are going to be just for our engineers first, that will not only let you just say, oh, what's the state of a gateway? Because you can ask that right now, state/status, gateway or radio.
Yep.
But it will be a full blown debugging, thing that says, hey,
and it all happens on Discord.
It all happens through Discord. Because here's the thing, right? Please.
I was going to say, so let me ask this then. What's the average customer look like? Because the reason I'm asking it is I'm curious if they're on Discord or if you're just getting kind of the crypto folks who are into it, who we all use Discord. So like walk me through what you're thinking your average customer looks like.
Sure. But here's the thing. So there's a big difference between our customers and at that point, think like, MSOs, MSO is a fancy word for like cable company, like super big cable companies or ISPs or mobile network operators. So like T-Mobile, Dish, AT&T, Verizon, whomever. Those are customers, right?
Yep.
We have or are negotiating, actual roaming agreements and deals with those folks. Yep. And then there are partners, people like you who are deploying our equipment, who are being incentivized by our tokens, right? Now it's folks like you that we're building this Discord dashboard for. Like you're already on Discord, by the way, I'm going to have integration with Telegram and other plausibly authenticated, chat channels as we go forward. Folks like you're making the magic happen. You're running our RAN. Like, you're a Discord native. Like we need you to have like at your fingertips tools for managing the stuff that doesn't involve, oh, I've got to go to this website. I've got to click here and I've got to scroll down and I've got to like see something. I want you to get notifications. And we're not using email because like my inbox is just totally flooded with crap. But my Discord DMs, those are pretty clean, right? Okay. Also, we have a primary relationship with you through Discord. So hey, we're already connecting with you there. We don't have to go like out of band for that. So that's why we're using Discord for that stuff.
Yeah. That's a neat play. Okay.
Yeah. No. And we think this really scales because at some point, sure, you're on top of your radios, but what if I can go to a whole bunch of folks and say, hey, how would you like to do some community service? Monitor this set of radios, gateways, and maybe there's other infrastructure you can monitor on Discord, sign up for these subscriptions, respond within a certain interval whenever there's a message, and we'll reward you with tokens, right? So that's one of the directions we're hoping to go in there.
So is like proof of attention then that they're paying attention to what's going on, or is it something else?
Well, so what it will be is it will be their job then to try to figure out what's up. Like, if you're doing this job, you'll require a certain level of clue, and they'll be like, okay, well, I see this gateway's down. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can ping that gateway. Okay, right. It's not pinging. Now I'm going to run a network status root test, to see if I can actually connect from here to the gateway. Blah blah blah.
So you're walking through how to troubleshoot.
Correct. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually cultivate a whole bunch of folks who are going to be like our decentralized network operations team. And again, not necessarily won't require a deep telco experience to start with. Of course, we're going to have our own like quote unquote real NOC that's going to be talking to folks and actually based in New Zealand right now who might be doing that for us to start with. Okay. So that will be like for, like the real hardcore, the IPX gateway is down, like stuff on the back end telco side. It's all going to be all the stuff related to, but it's all the stuff relating to our decentralized radios and network that's actually going to be like in the hands of people like you, and we want to help you be able to fix that, so that you just get a message like, oh, my gateway's down, and then somebody pops up in Discord and says, hi, I'm part of the XNET monitoring volunteer team. I notice your gateway's down, but it also looks like your ISP may be having problems, right? I don't think
so
this
like
is
don't
on
worry
your.
about it or go do this. Oh, that's interesting. So
Or,
you're
or
decentralizing
hey,
out like the
you can
maintenance.
go
Yeah.
do this. Exactly. So the
Yeah.
idea is that we want to actually not just decentralize the RAM, but I want to actually figure out a way we can decentralize the operation, at least of the actual RAN and that infrastructure, and do it with token rewards. Also, similarly for validation network mapping, that's in progress. Like I've been working on an app that will actually let you map out the current state of the XNet network, and eventually there'll be token incentives around that as well.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of that stuff in progress, and the idea is I want to engage this wonderful enthusiastic army of I call them volunteers, but they're really entrepreneurs. They're really partners
Sure.
to help us like stand this up, make it reliable, and all that.
Dang, do you think Discord is going to scale? Like I'm thinking about there's a couple things. Like email is so much easier for me to manage inbound stuff there, where Discord I could see like as the project's pretty small, because you guys aren't at like the 10,000, 30,000 radios yet, but man, when you get there, or maybe that's not where you're going, that's a lot of
Oh,
messages to
we're
handle in
going to
Discord.
millions. We're going to millions of radios. But here's the thing: Discord is just one channel. So what I'm building on
Okay.
the back end, think of this as being like this. Ultimately, it will also have its own AI components too. But it's like this communications bot, kind of intelligence that's sitting back there, and it'll be able to reach out on multiple different channels, including email. By the way, if you want to
Yeah.
sign up for email,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just that we have to do this
Oh,
whole thing. Okay, give me your email address. I've got to
yeah. Yeah.
confirm that. It's this back and forth thing. Whereas with Discord, like you're already authenticated, and you're in the channel, which
Mm.
is which means that we already kind of know who you are, and your Discord ID, and not the little username and
Yeah. Yeah.
what's the four-digit thing, the specifier, whatever they say. It's not
Yeah.
that. It's actually your like deep Discord ID. That's actually already registered with us. We already know who you are,
Yep.
kind of in the deep Discord sense. So we bypassed a lot of this like who is this person stuff. So like channels like Discord, do they scale? Well, Discord is pretty big, but we're not wedded to that. The back end of this thing can talk to anything. It can talk to
Right.
Telegram. It can talk to email. It can chat on Matrix, right? We
Right.
could go to Mastodon and Twitter and Blue Sky and all
Sure.
these
Sure.
things.
Sure.
Like we
Sure.
can do
Okay.
it all through those channels as well, as long as they support this kind of authenticated, direct message sort of interaction protocol, and
Yeah.
that will scale. That will
What
scale.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. I think it's a super cool move to think about Discord being integral to the comms of it. I see a lot of other projects not treating it that way, and that's a cool thing. So what? Let's see. What is the average? Let me. What does the average deployer look like as far as current deployments? Because you got, what is it? Is it
Yeah.
70 or 60 radios out now? Like it's still pretty small, still pretty like super manageable to handle, right?
So right now it's very small, but here's the thing: what you're really seeing right now on our current deployment map is primarily what I'll call enthusiast radios. So these
Yep.
are folks like you and me, got a couple radios, they're up there, and that's great. What you're not seeing quite yet is we have regional and mid-tier ISPs who are starting to deploy or will be deploying a bunch of our radios, our bigger radios, and those
Yep.
largely have not yet come up online for a couple of reasons.
Mm.
But those are going to be in our high priority areas in Manhattan. You're going to see them sort of coming online in Houston and San Francisco. And we've got folks we're working with, Zeppelin, Sky Packets, and others. And so those are what we'll call our kind of professional
Yeah.
deployers. And
When
they
are we going
and
to
we're
see those?
working
When
with
is
them.
that? Is that kind of this summer,
They're going
midsummer?
to start.
What's it?
They're coming all online this summer. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean it's already starting to happen, but we're going to see more and more of those, and it won't be like there's a special flashing icon above those radios.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at the serial numbers, and the model numbers, you're going to see, oh, that's a Bicels 846. That's big iron. You're going to start to see those popping up soon.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is, they're in it for the same reason that you're in it. They're getting tokens, right? I mean, and that's the
Sure.
really critical thing. It's not like we're, you know, running some other game for these folks. Like they're playing a fair game along with you. They're getting compensated for bringing their radios up, keeping
Sure.
them up, And then towards the end of the year, we're going to start switching towards this actual pay for data versus just pay for getting your radio up. But that's because, again, I keep saying this soon. And, and honestly, I've been frustrated by how long it's taking to kind of like finally like close some of these deals.
Yeah.
But soon we're going to actually have like real money coming in from our customers, where we then use 40% of that to buy our tokens off, the markets and burn those into data. And that's going to start creating that actual demand pressure that's going to start pushing up on the value of our token. And we're really excited about that. And that is coming. It's coming real soon, folks. I promise.
It's always
got to
dot
some I's and cross some T's. Yeah.
Yeah. With these big projects. I guess the last thing, we're a little bit over, but I know people are curious about it, is what's going on with the pollen radios. I know that project was a minor disaster. And have to sort it out. And that you guys were saying, hey, we can port some of these over. Like, what's the status of those?
So by the way, I want to say, look, I was the one who said, hey, let's do this. Let's convert these radios. I'm sure we can do this. And we got a little bit ahead of our skis on that. That being said, we now have a process. We are converting, pollen buy-sells radios, not all of them, but the ones that weren't on Greenhouse. And we have a process for doing that. That works and is like, I'm personally helping with that project. I'm taking out time from my job as CEO to go and log into gateways and convert radios. So cool. I'm doing that, as are other folks. More of those are going to be converting this week. Also, if you have a buy sells radio, we really, for all those out there that have buy sells radios, I'm not buy sells, blink radios, that were pollen radios. Right now, the only path that we have is you have to actually execute their release process. But once those radios are released, we can immediately convert them and turn them into XNET radios. And that's already happening as well. So we have both buy sells and blink radios from pollen coming onto our network. I'm sorry that it's taken as long as it has, but we've been rewarding people with tokens in the meantime.
Yeah, I see that. You guys are doing the best you can. I like it.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can. And those radios are now coming online, and they're building our network. So, we're really excited about that.
Ripping. Well, thanks, dude. Thanks for coming on and catching us up. Always good to see what's going on with these projects, and appreciate your time. Love to have you back on when you got more news to share with us.
Anytime. And there's lots going on, so check back soon.
All right. Thanks, Rich.
Okay. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.